Hi, Dustin. Well, um, as you can see, this is a very tiny shop. I have wood stored in here to keep it from warping. I need a wood rack. That's very expensive wood right there. Some poplar and oak, and that's we're using that to repair the picnic table. This little project here I've got going is actually going to be a spring pull lathe. You can Google that. It's a foot-powered lathe that was in use for, well, until we discovered electricity. It's a very safe and really a great way for kids to learn how to use a lathe and turn bowls and cups and table legs, things like that. That little project right there, I bought that for about, I don't know, $5, $6, $7 at Goodwill, and the reason I did it is because we're really tight on a budget. We have a very limited amount of money to spend, so I thought I would buy these pieces of furniture at Goodwill for $5 or whatever, $10, and they would save us money, but at the same time give the children a project to take care of. They're going to sand this. It's an old jewelry box, so we're going to kind of restore it, repair it, and the plan is to sell it and use the money to fund some of their field trips, especially the ones who are short on cash and really don't have the money. So just a few repairs on that. We have some gouge chisels, which we need. That's these right here, but we need a lot more. We need maybe another 10 of those. We need another 10 of these paring chisels, different various sizes. That looks like about a half inch or so, quarter inch. Some are inch. That's about an inch. We need files of all types. This one I bought used at the flea market because it's an old file, but I can restore them and they work great. But we could really use some new ones. That would be nice. Saws. We're okay on saws. I bought a few more used ones. I bought a dovetail saw, or actually Habitat for Humanity donated one to us. Air conditioner, we could use a bigger air conditioner, number one, and number two, we could actually use a heater in here in the winter. I'm sure it's gonna be pretty cold and chilly. We're using these old tables. Actually, they're old doors. For right now, I rebuilt this table last in the summer, but that's going to hold up for another year or so. But I need to either rebuild one. I'd rather rebuild one. I'd rather rebuild one with the children and have them learn how to build a woodworking table with vise, with a great vise, preferably a vise with wooden screws. That's the goal, is to actually. This has a woodworking vise. But it's not the best. It's small, and it actually was designed to clamp here and sit on top of the table, but I didn't want that because ideally you want it on the side here so that when you're planing, you're kind of flush with the table. Also, these are called dog hole legs, which I'm not going to take too much time of your time on this video. Your time is valuable, and I can talk forever when I make these videos, so I don't want to do that to you. Basically, a dog hole, you put this is called a dog leg. Why they call it a dog leg, I have no idea. But and ideally, you want one in here. I have to put some wood wood in between these two steel jaws, and that helps protect the wood. But you have a dog leg up on top of one of these, on top of the vice jaw that screws, so that when you screw it in, it tightens a piece of wood. You put a piece of wood in between here, and you get to you can plane it, and it's just a safer way to work with your wood. If you're carving bowls or spoons, it's a safer way for the children to carve the wood. So so what we actually need is another work table like this. To be honest with you, Harbor Freight actually sells ready-made woodworking benches for about $150, I think. We could use actually two of those, to be honest with you. Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, if I have time. Somebody's offered to give us a woodworking table for free that I may replace it with this, but I have to be able to get there and pick it out with a truck and all that. I don't have a truck, but we're gonna get it done. So anyway, it's this very small shop. It's a little cluttered right now because generally when I have class, I take everything out of here every day and put it outside until we're ready to use it. Ideally, we need a shop that, oh my gosh, this one is about, on the inside, it's about 12 by 20, I think. That's a rough estimate. We ideally actually need one that's about 20 by 30 because we need wood racks. We need a place to store wood, not on the floor. And we need a place to put good workbenches. And they take up space. This one's about I think this one's about 2.5 by 5, I think. So they take up space, and we could use three in a shop. And what else? We could use some storage, obviously shelving and things like that. Which that I'm working on. I have a little bit of wall space to store things on. I'm doing as much as I can. I'm going back to school. I'm in a master's program for professional counseling. So I do as much as I can in my spare time to help these guys out. We need a few power tools, mainly for the 8th grade. Waldorf philosophy prefers that 5th and 6th grade learn hand tools. And the 7th and 8th graders begin to be introduced to power tools. And 8th graders should be able to use power tools quite a bit by the time they're in woodworking. That bandsaw is actually broken. That's one I bought at a yard sale, and it's not working. So we actually need a new one, and I'm not going to use something that's unsafe for the children, but if I even think it's unsafe. Bandsaw, somebody donated a miter saw to us. We're good on that. We could use a scroll saw. Scroll saw, hand saw, a few more jigsaws, and some rasps. That's this one's okay. I found this one used again. It actually works fairly well, but it's kind of worn out a little bit. The flat part is. The round section's in good shape. We can use some more of these braces. Again, I got this at the flea market. I got 2 of these for $10. They're usually about $30 a piece, and it works great. But we need about probably a good 5 of those. We need a tap and die set that's specifically for making wooden screws, so that we can make a wooden vise for one that would fit all the way across here. If you bought a new one that's made of steel, that's probably $150, $200. If we make it out of wood, it might be $50. And it's a great project for the kids to do and for the teacher. But it's a great project for the kids, and they can go home and if they want to, they can go home and do the same thing at home. We need probably a few. We need at least 5 drills. We have one electric drill. We could use at least one more electric. 3 cordless drills, battery operated drills, and a lot of wood. Wood is probably the most expensive item. Good wood. For instance, this piece of poplar right here, somewhere between the hardwood and the softwood. It's great for carving spoons and bowls, but for making boxes and. But this one piece here cost about, I think it was $30. And that's about a 1x6 by 12, I think. So might have been $20, between 20 and 30. Oak wood would be ideal. These small little, they call them furry strips, but we're going to use these for the edge of the picnic table. It's hardwood, it's oak. And the reason for putting it out around the edge is that it will last, it will hold up to, abuse, and, it will hold up to nicks. It's hard, it's dense, it's less prone to denting, I suppose, less prone to chipping, and it protects the edge of the main part of the table. So anyway, that's we could use a steel cabinet for our paints, and preferably a fireproof steel cabinet for our paints and stains and things like that. Some of them are a little flammable, and it's just the idea, and I think it's pretty much the ideal situation is to have a fireproof steel cabinet for that. I've been looking for one. I haven't really been able to find one. What else? That's about all I can think of. We could actually, that's all I can think of for right now, actually. But we could use, a sander, electric sander. Like I said, this is kind of a combination hand woodworking shop and power woodworking shop. The younger children use hand tools because it's safer, and the idea is to kind of like be a part of your work. And the thing I'm trying to impress upon the children is that the tools are, well, if I remember correctly, Waldorf philosophy, what we're trying to do in the creative department is we're trying to develop their intellectual, creative, and social skills. Well, that's Waldorf philosophy in general. And so I try to stress upon them that the wood represents their life. It's their life, and the tools represent their social, intellectual, and creative skills. And so what they do is they take those tools and shape their life. They make something useful. They make something positive and something beautiful. And it's starting to register. It may take a little while to get there, but that's my goal. That's my understanding. I just and I really believe that the things we do in woodworking really represent how we are shaping our life, how we're shaping the children's life, how the children are going to choose, how they're going to make healthy choices, solve problems. Woodworking is all about solving problems and creating a goal and having a vision of the finished product, and you're working towards that finished product, and to create something useful for both for yourself and for others. So and that's what we're really trying to do with our life. Ideally, we should be we're being taught to create something beautiful and useful with our life that's going to benefit society and benefit ourselves, and that's my idea, my understanding of what Waldorf is requiring through the woodworking class, and that's my desire anyway. When I work with children, I always, whether it's with music or photography, I try to impart to them the the knowledge and the vision that what we're doing is just a reflection of our life in general. It's like a microcosm of our life. We're using our tools, our intellectual, creative, and social skills to shape our life and do something. In psychology, it's called self-actualization. We're trying to reach that place where we are. We're not all going to be Martin Luther King or President Obama or Trump or whoever or a leader of a nation, but everybody can be self-actualized by reaching their full potential, and that's really what we're trying to do here: is teach kids to work with these tools and have a vision and a goal to reach their full potential. They want to reach the full potential by creating projects. And some of the projects they've done are this has just gotten started. I think they're going to make a cup or a kind of like a cup holder out of this. And, we're still working on that. They just got started on that. Some of the boys are going to do what I did. I created a prototype. It's not done yet, but it's a sword. I think they're going to use it in a play. But it's a cool project. You use all with hand tools except for the sander, right? Use the sander to smooth it out. And that reminds me of one other thing we need. Here's some hand tools. This is a draw knife. And again, I bought this used, but we could use about 5 more of these. That's for taking bark off trees, for shaping wood, things like that. We could use, this is a bowl, I think it's a bowl hook knife or a bowl scraper, but it's for shaping the inside of cups and bowls and things like that. We need about, I think that was $30, but we need about 5 more of those. Some spoke shaves. Again, this is used, but I use this and the draw knife to shape the sword. I just showed you. It works great. It's old, it's used, but I restored the blade. I haven't had a chance to actually repaint it, but it works great. We need about at least 5 more of those. I generally have about 10 children per class. If I could have one tool for each children, that's the idea. Those are about $20 to $30. So hand tools are a little more expensive than power tools, but they're worth it. They'll last forever. We need a plane. Again, I bought this used, and it works great. It's a joiner plane. That's for mainly for flattening wood, and it's used a lot for gluing, preparing the edges of wood to glue together to make boards. We don't really need a lot of these, maybe like 1 or 2 more. I have some smoothing planes. Actually, that's a jack plane. But we need a smoothing plane similar. We need about 4 to 5 more of those. And here's something that I helped start. This is the beginning of a bowl. And I use a miter saw to shape the outside. We're still working on that. And it's not bad, but this is like the hardest wood to carve, in my opinion. It's Douglas fir. I prefer to have either cedar or some pine, or for making bowls, I'd rather just have part of a log from a cherry or oak or something like that. Even mesquite would be great. It's hard to work with, but that'd be great. I think that's about it. And then on top of all the tools, we need wood, really high quality wood. Uh, my dream would be to get some wood from I think it's Woodworkers Source down in Phoenix, but that's very exotic, expensive wood. But if we could do 1 or 2 projects a year with some of that wood, that would be a dream come true. But anyway, that's all I can think of for right now. We need picture frame clamps. That's this one's okay, but it's a little more difficult to work with. There's some that are made of steel that much easier to work with those. Those are for gluing up the corners of picture frames. That's about all I can think of. We need maybe a couple more combination squares or tri-squares, and that is about all I can think of for the time being. Coping saws, need quite a bit of those, and yeah, that's about it. That is about it. The other thing we need is, like I said, a bigger shop, ideally, and this is my dream list. So ideally, that would be the dream, to have a shop that's about 20 by 30, and perhaps use this shop for storage, for wood storage, and maybe even for doing staining and painting, things like that. And, so that's about it for right now. But I appreciate your time and appreciate you considering helping us. These kids deserve this. They really deserve a good workshop, and it's not just a waste of time and money. It's really developing their personality, developing their work ethic. I would really like to see some of these young guys. One of the things I wanted to do, if we have time, is to actually teach them how to make frame some walls and learn how to do framing work. And some of them may want to do carpenter work when they get when they're about 15, 16, and do that for a part-time job in the summer. They make great money. And they could actually maybe pay their way through college by doing that, if they needed to. So those are just some of the dreams and goals I have for this project. And Michael kind of gave it to me, handed it over to me, and said, "I want you to own this." And so I'm owning it. And and there's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. There is a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm basically starting from the ground up and just overhauling this whole project, because there really are no tools that there wasn't. Well, let me rephrase that. There really were not very many tools when I came in here. The screwdrivers, the chisels, but basically I bought most of the planes. I bought the braces. The hook knives. Well, I didn't buy it personally. But I knew what we needed, and I'm spending our budget money wisely and prudently. We need more clamps too, a lot of clamps, because we're going to be doing gluing and bird houses and things like that, boxes. So that's all I can think of, and appreciate your time, appreciate your help, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.